Hi, this is Rebecca Smith with Help for Homeschool. Now, when people first start homeschooling, one of the big fears that I hear, both from parents and maybe from loved ones, is what about socialization? Don't kids need to be in a brick and mortar school for kids to be properly socialized, for them to have friends and have valuable, high quality experiences with other kids that teach them how to operate in the real world? Well, I'm here to ease your fears about socialization and to tell you why the worries about socialization are probably not true, and in some ways, you may even provide them with a social advantage. So maybe you have seen homeschoolers portrayed in the media. Maybe when you think of homeschoolers, you picture the Duggars, very conservatively dressed. They don't watch TV even though they have a TV show, long hair, huge families, make all of their food from scratch. That's kind of your idea of a homeschool family. Or maybe you've seen images like the family from Captain Fantastic. They're more liberal, the kids read a lot, they have radical social and political ideas, and they live kind of off the grid. But whether conservative or liberal, the string that holds those two examples together is a healthy dose of social awkwardness.
I want kids someday. Not right now, of course, but when you're ready, when I'm ready, because I think this should be a shared decision. This is a decision that we should make together. But when you are ready, I will be ready. I am ready for you, if you will have me. Claire. What's your last name?
But I do want to acknowledge that that stereotype of the awkward homeschooler may exist for a reason. And I want to acknowledge a couple reasons why that may be. Number one, because kids are not in public school where there's this mass cultural pressure, a lot of times they tend to hold on to childhood a little bit longer. Maybe there's a little bit of retained innocence. Maybe they play younger kid games a little bit older. But at the same time, I also find that they grow up and mature into adults a little sooner. Perhaps there's less prolonged adolescence. Now, this is certainly not true all the way around. This has just been my personal experience with the people that I've seen that homeschooled. But it's definitely true that some homeschoolers are a little bit, strange. I think homeschooling sometimes attracts people who are out-of-the-box thinkers and countercultural, and sometimes those people tend to not fit into societal norms. I think you also have a lot of students who are homeschooled because they are neurodivergent, because the public and private school system was not a good fit for them. So those people might struggle a little bit more socially, and you might see that a little bit whenever you are interacting with them. But I also want to acknowledge that perhaps we value culturally the wrong type of socialization, the wrong type of social skills. When we look at a child and we evaluate how good they are socially, maybe we worry a little bit too much if they are dressing cool or playing the latest video games or up to date on the latest apps or whatever. And maybe we are not focusing so much on their social skills like kindness and gentleness and being able to help others and recognize needs around them. Maybe we don't focus enough on kids learning cultural sensitivities and to be aware of the little kids around them that might need their help as they get bigger. If you have to choose between those two, personally, I would prefer my kids develop the latter, even if it is at expense of the former. I think that you can have both, and I'm not saying you can't. And I'm definitely not saying that kids in a traditional school environment can't learn those things. But sometimes I think it's a little easier to teach those things in a homeschool environment. When we're not dealing with a global pandemic, Homeschoolers are usually participating in all the same extracurricular activities as their peers. They're participating in rec sports, they are in clubs like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, they're going to youth group, they're going to local parks, they're going to bowling alleys and skating rinks. They are around kids all the time. And really, for most public school kids, that's where the valuable social interaction occurs anyway. Outside of the school hours, life really looks very similar for most public and private school kids and homeschoolers. Aside from that, when homeschoolers are interacting with their peers, they are not interacting with only a group of kids the exact same age as them. And I honestly think this provides them with an advantage. Public school kids and private school kids usually interact primarily with kids the exact same age as them. But homeschool kids, on the other hand, will interact with kids several years older or younger. And I think that this helps them in the real world. Usually, once you graduate from high school, you're not spending most of your time with people the exact same age as you. When you get a job, you're going to be working with people 10, 20, 30 years older than you, 10, 20, 30 years younger than you as you get older, and you have to be able to interact well with people of a variety of ages and backgrounds. Now, it may surprise you to learn that homeschoolers are often a very diverse group. That's not something that a lot of people think of, but where I live especially, there is a huge variety in religions and socioeconomic backgrounds. There's ethnic diversity. It's really just a hodgepodge of all different kinds of people. And I feel like my kids have really developed the ability to go up to anybody, whether they look like them or they don't, or they act like them or they don't, and make friends with that person. I love seeing older kids interacting with toddlers or preschoolers on the playground and help them, and being sensitive to what younger kids need. And I think this is an advantage that homeschoolers sometimes have because they're spending so much of their time interacting with a wide range of ages. Okay guys, so what do you think? Do homeschoolers have a social advantage or do they struggle socially? Comment below. I would love to know your thoughts on this subject. I would love to hear how you guys are helping your kids socially when sometimes it might take a little bit more intentionality with homeschool students to keep them socially engaged. Comment below, make sure to like and subscribe the page. You can do it right here, and you can check out my other videos right here. Thank you so much for watching. And maybe they are socially awkward. A little bit, or a lot. Okay.
You have a social problem.
Yeah.